when the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality. Open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the book club by DLC.
Hello there, book clubbers! Back with your weekly excuse to dance. Hope you got a little boogie in your seat. We're having a good time. We're on our second episode of Shadow of the Torture by Gene Wolfe. Oh, I'm really digging this book. I'm Jeff Kanata. I'm here with Lana Bashinsky. Hi, Lana.
Hello, and nobody be alarmed. I'm just in a different place in the same room. It's okay. I know change is hard, but it's fine.
The camera has rotated, and it's a whole new world.
Yeah,
Look at that. It's like not just a blank wall.
Yeah. It's been at the beginning of the book club. I had all my art up, and I was like, cool. And then I've been sitting in my void for years now, and I finally got it together.
Looking sharp.
Some art, but it was,
I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, what's that? Is that a painting that you did behind you? Behind your left
wish.
shoulder? No.
This thing?
Yeah.
No, that's a nobody. No, it's the things have passed. This was a piece of art that was at my former workplace.
Yes.
Yes. But no,
I recognize the character.
The cover. Yes. This is Orphea. She's a character animated, and this is this was the cover art for a comic book that we released leading up to her release, and it was very cool. And this was printed out for a big convention, and then it was left in a hallway, and
now it's
I don't think anybody's going to put it up, so somebody will.
Well, it looks great.
Thank you.
We are doing chapters 7 through 13 of Shadow of the Torturer this week, but we always like to start the show with a little non-spoiler action so that if you're not caught up with the reading, you can still hang out and talk books and other stuff with us. And we love when we get those topics from you, the community, sent into dlcfeedback@gmail.com. This one comes to that email address from Jason. Jason says, hi, very excited to be starting a new series with you two and the Discord folks. By the way, the Discord, 5x5 DLC on Discord. The book club section there. Vibrant, fun, great folks. Jason continues, I have had the Book of the New Sun on my shelf for a while now, just burning a hole and collecting dust. I've heard great things. The cover art is dope, and the book titles are sick. So I'm happy to finally getting around to it with the book club. I first heard of the Book of the New Sun while reading through Malazan and wondering what could ever come close to that experience. And Wolfe's series came up frequently online, which brings me to my non-spoiler question. How do you feel about and typically respond to the whole, if you like this, then try that concept? It's a perfectly reasonable method of giving and receiving recommendations, but I have found that while I'm on the receiving end of those recommendations, it almost never works. Not just in books, but all media, music being the primary other one. Oh, you like this band? They were heavily inspired by these dudes. Check them out. You like this book? Try checking out so-and-so. It's similar, but better. Nope. The next recommendation almost never lands for me. Maybe it would have if I had discovered it first, but by chance, I stumbled on the other one first, and it's as if the work I discovered and loved landed, exploded, and took out everything in its vicinity, crippled God style. I think maybe I just naturally compare the recommendation to the original, and it ruins the experience. Do you find this to be the case for you? Do you look for books similar to what you have liked before? And really, what's the alternative? Seeing as how I discovered the Book of the New Sun by reading the Malazan Book of the Fallen, man, even the names are similar, I'm hoping it breaks that pattern. Let's find out. Take care, Jason. So, Lana, what do you think? The recommendation by association? Is it work for you?
I will say that nothing makes me more acutely aware that brains be working different for different people. Then when somebody's like, oh my God, you love this, you gotta try this other thing. And then when I try it, I'm like, these are nothing alike. So I think but I don't necessarily not enjoy it because one is, better or something than the other one, because I'm always basically, I like the hobby of doing the thing, especially with reading. I'm like, I enjoy just reading a book. I'll read whatever. You're reading something, I'll read that thing. And I'll enjoy that experience no matter what. But it's almost like when somebody goes, oh my God, that person looks just like celebrity. And you're like, what? No, they don't. But then that person will make like their facial expression will pass through one face, like micro expression. And you go, oh, for like 1 split second, I saw what you saw. But I don't, overall, I disagree. And I feel like that so frequently happens with, if you like this thing, then you should like this thing, especially because some people's tastes and the things that are like a bullseye, I love this thing, I find to be a lot broader than mine are. A big part of my enjoyment is the criticism of things and being able to sort of pick things apart and dissect them. So I still don't mind. But somebody being like, this thing that you love, you're going to also love this thing. I'm like, I doubt it, because the specificity that thing hit me with is so, I feel like it's a narrow band. What about you, Jeff Canada?
Well, it's interesting. You know, I think about this more in our modern age of algorithmic shopping, you know, or Spotify or whatever music service you have, where, you know, it's like it will make a playlist for you based on one song. You know, I do that sometimes where I'm like, I like this song, make me a playlist based on this song. And then you'd be listening to it and you're like, Really playlist? Really?
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's not. But you know, it's a tricky wicket, right? Because it's I find that a lot of, especially with books, you know, this happens a lot with my Audible subscription, where my Audible is constantly wanting me to think about these other books that are similar, constantly, and it is the most lazy the associations that it's making. It's like, same author. Oh, have you thought about this book, which is the next in the series of the book you're currently listening to? It's like, yeah, I get it. There's another one in the same series next. I would love it actually to maybe be more like Spotify or some. I think music, because music is brief and plentiful, and you know, there are all these subgenres. I mean, I guess you could say that about books too. They're, you know, plentiful and there's lots of subgenres, but it seems like there are more, these services algorithmically take a little bigger swings at, you know, if this song is kind of like this, if you're into this kind of music, maybe you'll like this song. And I wish at least the sort of algorithms would push me a little farther afield and try to introduce me to things that I hadn't thought about before.
But then there's go ahead.
No, you.
Well, then there's like the argument, like depending on how far afield, you'd be like, this algorithm's going crazy, suggesting things that are not even anything I've like.
That's right. Because then you criticize it for being like, those two things are associated. So it's kind of a lose-lose.
It is.
But when humans do it, I'm more, I find, at least with me, it seems to be more like, based on the breadth of things I know about you, I think you'll like this. You know, when I get recommendations from friends who are like, oh, it's not like, oh, you liked Game of Thrones or whatever. It's more like, you like this. It's like a whole kind
triangulation.
of. Yes. I have this sense of your taste, rather than a 1-to-1 of, you like Malazan, so, you know, try whatever, Book of the New Sun or whatever it is. And I think the more times it's the algorithms where I'm like, I can't trust you. Because, you know, and it's always like, did you like Malazan? I mean, here we go again. Forgive me, book club. I'm doing it again. But did you like Malazan? You're going to love Brandon Sanderson. Do you know why? Because we sell a boatload of Brandon Sanderson books. It's just like.
Same genre. Fantasy?
Yes. It's the same genre, but we're just pushing you toward the thing that a lot of people also buy. Yeah. Instead of like making really interesting, nuanced suggestions based on the specificity of what you liked before. And I think that is really the the sweet spot that I wish we could get to. Because most of the time I find it's like, hey, did you like a sci-fi thing? Try Andy Weir. It's like, yeah, okay, everybody's reading that. I get it. You're selling a ton of those. You know what I mean? It's like, it's less, hey, we have a suggestion based on what you liked. It's more, there's a whole lot of these being sold, so maybe you'll also be one of the people that buys these,
Yeah. I do agree that it is lose-lose. But I also, I really love what you said about like humans feeling like they're triangulating your position to hit to the heart of what you like. I felt like that. I feel great delight in somebody thinking that I'll like something. I love seeing what is it that made them think that I'd like that thing. Frozen rant, insert Frozen rant here.
The one time that went catastrophically.
But even then I'm like, let's have a serious conversation about like, what about this was
who
me
do you
to you?
think I am?
But I also revel in trying to get that for other people. I remember trying to recommend games for a DLC, and I forget the first game I recommended. You were like, no. The second game I recommended, I remember, was Loop Hero, and you're like, I obsessively played it, but I hate the way that it looks.
Yeah.
And then the third game I recommended was Wild Frost, and I was like, I gotcha.
Still one of my favorite games ever. Like it's mainstay on my Steam Deck and it never will leave.
Yeah. But that's like such a satisfying feeling to do that triangulation as well. So even though it can be like, I know that my experience of being like, I got this narrow band of things that I really genuinely like and people aren't going to hit it. I'm not going to stop recommending things to other people either, because I think I know, because there's a great joy in trying to understand people. And so even though people miss, I'm always going to try and read the book that recommended to me, and I'm always going to give recommendations. So
because you're a good egg, Lana Bashinsky. I'm in a very privileged position as somebody who has spewed their opinion on the internet for 15 years plus. That I frequently get recommendations from people that I don't know in real life that have a sort of, metasocial relationship with me, a parasocial, what is the term? But that know of my opinions because I've said them so frequently and they've listened to them so frequently, but I don't know them in, IRL. And it is always a delight when somebody's like, Jeff, I'm just so certain you're going to love this movie, or have you seen this? Because I just really believe it's your jam. And frequently it's right on. And I always enjoy getting recommendations from folks that, they're like, oh, I watched the thing and it made me think of you. Even though we don't know each other, it made me think of you. And I'm like, that's always a compliment and feels good. So, yeah. All right, let's dive in because we got some juicy stuff to talk about. I feel like the book really makes a turn. By chapter 13, we are off and running. But we start with chapter 7. So spoilers starting now for chapter 7 of Shadow of the Torturer. The chapter 7 is called The Traitress. The Traitress. Severian is tasked with delivering dinner and the books that were requested that he went down to the archives to retrieve previously. He has to deliver them to Thekla, the woman who is imprisoned, awaiting her torture, awaiting some sense of whether she will be tortured. And he arrives at her room. He finds her to be tall, and he's immediately struck. So tall, she can barely even fit in her own cell, which is like, sounds horrible in and of itself.
Yeah. The height, she's the height size of an exultant. So I think we've talked about exultants up to this point. I don't think that they'd mentioned that Severian, it does happen in these chapters that he has like an exultant look or feel to him, but it becomes clear that she's like alien-like.
Yeah. And she has this like deep widow's peak, and she's very beautiful, and he's immediately kind of falls in love with her. And her room is well furnished. She's wearing this beautiful gown. It doesn't even really look like a prison cell. She's getting these books, and he's outside the door. There's like a little slot that he can see her through, that he could pass her dinner in through and pass her books in through. But one of the books is too big and will not fit through the slot. So she says, "Hey, why don't you come in and bring it into me?" And so he unlocks the door and he goes inside because he's like, she's tall. She ain't going to take me. Like, I'm not worried about her making a break for it. Because even if she gets past me, which ain't going to happen, she sure as heck ain't going to get past anybody else.
Yeah, she's still like so slender and is just, no. There's like the lace through everything. I don't know if it's a Gene Wolfe thing or a Severian thing, but like, the little sexist line, little, I quote unquote, little sexist line through everything that's very present here too. He's like, well, she's still just a weak woman. I'll go in. In this case,
also we're told that Severian is like a huge dude.
Yeah. But then like the things about the torturers can't be women. There's like, it's
no, you're not wrong.
Also, just a note that Severian comes down here. His friends who just got bumped up to journeyman are like in there doing their excruciations or whatever.
Yeah, thank you for not letting me skip that. Oh my God.
So he's like, yeah, what's up, man? While he's like doing the torture. And he's like, can you just go deliver dinner? He's like, I'm not supposed to. Just want to be really clear. He's like, I'm going to take I'll take that if people are mad. I'm going to finish this. If you got to deliver those books and you deliver the food, just don't do it all and it's fine. So he's sort of already doing something that he's not usually supposed to do by being at the cell, delivering the dinner, and now opening it up to deliver the books. It's like immediately the little
transgressions,
the little bend to the rules to just get the work done. But it's the fact that he wouldn't stand on ceremony and like do the specific things, I think just says about Severian's willingness to do stuff like that.
Yeah. And the other thing that I totally skipped over that I'm glad you made me remember is that as he goes there, I think it's Droat who is actively torturing a woman who tried to kill herself to make it stop by literally just removing the bandages that had been put on her.
Yeah.
So it's basically like they torture, they flay skin, they do these horrible things, and then they like patch you up so they can do it again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just the most revolting, disturbing imagery, and it's so mundane. Like there's in these chapters specifically, there's like this sort of pedestrian, workman-like discussion of just the most horrific human suffering you can imagine. You know? There's like this background layer to all of it.
Yeah. Clinical.
Yeah.
In that they're like, well, this is our job and we got to do it right. And there's a sentence later where they're like, we don't intend on torturing you any more or any less than the punishment that we're given. And we want to make sure that you maintain as much dignity as you can through the whole process. They're like, so
you're our clients.
It's like gentle excruciations.
Excruciations is such a great word too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he shows up and Droat's like, hey man, hey, it's like two guys with lunch boxes going to work, It's like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What are you up to? She tried to kill herself to make the excruciating pain stop,
We're working harder, hardly working. Am I right? All right. Wrap her up.
Yeah. So Thecla, the what is her? The Chatelaine or Chatelaine. Yeah. What a cool title, Chatelaine. The Chatelaine Thecla.
She's the of course of the autarch.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Well, we find out that her sister, Thea, is the one. So we find out a lot of this kind of interesting backstory. I don't know if it happens.
Do we find it in this moment? I think it's like a first beat. Let's get to it once we get to it. But in this moment, he comes in and he chats with her for a little bit about the books, and she's like, can't you just visit me more? And he's like, no, Drought's gonna bring your lunch from now on. And she's like, I would like it if he didn't, and instead you did, because his is the first human face that she's seen, because all the journeymen wear masks, and
haven't
so she
earned his mask yet. Yeah.
And she's like, they're gonna treat me really nice because it's sort of my position. I would like it if you brought me lunch and chatted with me a little bit every day. And I think Severian plants a little seed of how she could ask for that appropriately and get it done, but is like, but I can't do it. Bye.
Yeah. It's funny how he's like, well, you can make those requests. We love, honoring the requests of all the people we're torturing. Just pass it on down the line and ask. They'll probably let you do that. And also there's like this kind of little tinge of him knowing what she's doing, like befriending him, being really sweet to him, and like he's thinking to himself, she expects to be set free, and I got to really make sure she understands, like, hope makes it worse.
Yeah.
Like, you are going to get tortured. I don't know when. Like the waiting is also horrible. This notion of just sitting around waiting for your agony to start,
Yeah. And then waiting so long that you do delude yourself into hoping. And then the moment that you're starting to hope, it's like the highest contrast between your most positive feelings of like, they're not actually going to get me, and the reality of you will be tortured makes that itself the most painful possible experience.
Yeah. I love how she's like, well, do some people get set free? And he's like, it's not that it doesn't happen. It's just that it's probably not going to happen for you. It's like, you're not going to win the lottery, lady.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting dynamic, where he's like, it's better if you don't think that's going to happen. Like, just accept the horrors that are coming down upon you. Crazy. All right. So, he agrees to relay her request to his superiors, and he later goes to his master Gerlos, who calls him to his office and asks about how things are going with Thecla. And he's like, hey, she's pretty high up. She is a well-connected exultant. She's like being held specifically on orders of the autarch, and he wants to use her sort of as leverage against Vodalis, because her sister Thea has left the House Absolute, the autarch's palace, for lack of a better word, and has taken up with Vodalis as his consort, and the autarch is not too happy about that, and is sort of using the sister as bait to get her back.
Yeah. I forget if that is the conversation that Gerlos has with them. I think there's like some amount of like confirming that. I think Thea eventually says all those kind of things to Severian as well. But in that conversation, they're like, she's made this request. You're going to go eat lunch with her.
Thecla says it.
Thecla says that, not Thea says it. Thecla says it.
Yeah.
You're going to bring her lunch, but they're like, keep it together, buddy. We know what it's like to be a kid your age. And we're going to make sure that we don't be falling in love with that lady. And we're going to make sure that we take you elsewhere to get you some kind of physical satisfaction, so that you don't feel the need to get physical satisfaction from this person you're going to spend a bunch of time with. Okay.
I love it. They're like, treat her nice, not too nice.
Yeah.
But like nice, like
everything she wants, but not everything. Not everything.
And I love the reasoning too is so dark, where he's like, she's going to invite you into her bed. You cannot do it because a pregnancy would really complicate the torturing. It's like, oh, that's so dark.
Yeah.
It's so dark.
It's all about the punishments and making sure that we are efficiency, optimal punishments. And this whole thing, people are just going to think the worst of us.
Yeah.
If she gets pregnant in cell,
really be a black mark on the old Torturers Guild.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But it's so funny. His solution to that is like, I get it. Pretty ladies, I get it. We got a contingency plan. We'll take care of you. Don't worry, bro. We got this. I understand, So the next chapter is called The Conversationalist. So because Master Gerlos said, she's requested you to be her companion, to be her personal, I don't know, valet, you know, to be her point person. Yeah. He does. He starts taking her dinner every night, and they start talking about things like, you know, the fact that when she gets out of here, she wants to start her own religion.
Yeah.
She's got plans, you know, she's got plans.
Plans on plans.
Plans to literally start. It's like the most cynical thing. She's like, I could start a religion. And actually it's pretty awesome that it started in a torturer's chamber. Like what people will totally buy into that. You know?
They will eat that up.
It's so true. It's like, man, I'm a real martyr right now. This rules.
Yeah. I'll say that for our favorite chapter section, I went right before I joined the call this morning, and I had to like pare down how many favorite sentences I had. Because some of them I pared them down to the beautiful ones, but there's so many ones that were just like interesting weirdnesses about this. And being like, I'm gonna start my own religion because this is like such a great backstory for my God character. It's delightful.
Yeah, totally. And she also says, you know, they took me in this gown, which is sort of not exactly what I would have chosen to wear if I came here. Do you think we can get, I don't know, other dresses for me? And also, you know, is anybody in House Absolute asking about me possibly?
Yeah.
And she's like, I got this jeweler, you could sell it and then you could go buy me some more clothes. That would be super sweet. And he's like, yeah, nobody's coming for you, babe. I'm sorry. Nobody's coming for you.
Anyway, tell me more about your books.
Yeah. They talk about the books. They talk about, you know, life after death and what they believe. I thought all that was really interesting stuff.
I also just like you feel there's a lovely arc over the course of these chapters, but it starts in a place where Thecla is held with like incredible respect by Severian, that everything she says feels incredibly elegant. The background of it is this bartering for like, what can we do to just like figure things out? And then the horror for being in the cell mixed with like the privileged confidence of things are going to work out for me, kind of. There's such an interesting mingling of flavors that is mostly the rose-colored perspective of his memories of first experiencing her and their friendship. And there's a little arc that happens through these chapters that I really like, that I didn't feel it coming to be the way that it is, but she feels incredibly poised, incredibly elegant, incredibly intelligent. And that, I mean, we're in Severian's head, so that's what he's seeing of her.
Yeah. Until that comes crashing down shortly. Yeah. So then, you know, we get some interesting insight into his interactions with some of the other journeymen at Matachin Tower, where they're kind of talking about House Absolute. And it's this really weird sort of ethereal nature to this world, this place. The palace itself is like this kind of enigmatic thing where no one exactly knows where it is, but you can find it if you need to. And it's like all things to all people. And the autarch himself is described as being like, they say something like, if he really is comprised of all the descriptions that you hear about him, he would be a monster. Like it would be, it is incompatible. All these things, like he's taller than anyone when he stands, but average height when he sits. He's, you know, he dresses like a woman. He, you know, like all these different wild rumors. He's big, he's small, he's, you know, he's happy, he's sad. It's like all these contradictions that can't possibly all be true, which is fascinating. I love that. Like another thing, you know, they constantly talk about our mystery when they talk about the art of torturing. And I feel like this is a world that's just shrouded in mystery on all angles, you know, this citadel that they live in, that they don't even, people can get lost in, that have lived there their whole lives, you know, the places that are impossible to find, but also familiar. It's really cool.
But even calling it our mystery, I mean, like very much in this book, it's very Catholic coded. And it paints the the Torturers Guild not just as a profession, but it has a religious aspect of it, calling it, oh, this is our mystery. That's how, in my recollection, people talk about like Catholicism. They're like, oh, this is the mysteries of the Lord, their mystery being how they talk about their profession. It's like big religious vibes for how they treat this. And not so, mostly it has been depicted as incredibly scientific torture, but that all of this is painting that wider picture of sort of religious fanaticism, both externally and internally to the guild.
For sure. Yes. Good point. So then Roche shows up to collect Severian off to our field trip that the boss sent us on, off to the brothel.
He's like, oh, amazing. I'm so glad that you need to get laid because, woo, I get to go on the field trip and we got coins. So we're going to get ladies. He's like so hyped to be leaving. And I think this is Severian's like first time really leaving the Citadel area.
Yeah. He shows up and he's dressed in not torturer's clothes. He's like, what? What do you can dress like that? Have you done this before? And he's like, they gave us money. Let's go, bro.
Hey, get that, girls. And he's like, yeah, you can't be dressed like a torturer because everybody's going to look at you and be like, oh, torturers.
Ick. Yeah. Yes. So they leave and it's snowing and they get in this carriage and they talk about the Citadel and the city of Nessus. And there's this like notion that the world is like in decline and they're waiting for the arrival of the new sun, which of course sticks out because this series is called Book of the New Sun. So immediately, flagged in my brain, but it's this like, it's such this interesting, I love the fabric of this storytelling of these two torturers that like on their grand day out, there's like this kind of pall of sadness over everything, but also they're going to get lucky. And it's just such layers of just contradiction and,
griminess
emotion.
And
yes.
Yeah. It's very, it feels so light in a way to read it, but the depth to the feelings being experienced within the book is masterful.
I totally agree. Like that is a thing that is really remarkable to me is how light and airy it feels. And the chapters are brief and it just feels like you're cruising through it and the imagery is really potent and you're in it. And yet it really has that depth that we came to expect from Malazan and it has that like, the layers of meaning that seem to be stacked one atop the next. I really enjoy it. All right. So chapter 9 is called The House Azure, which is the name of the brothel that they are visiting. They arrive and see this man in yellow robes who Severian immediately has this sort of negative reaction to this guy.
Dude's like an android though, for real, right?
Oh, I didn't think that. Maybe.
One of the sentences I described is, he describes the house as there's only lights in the bottom floors. It's dark as it goes up. This person greets them that he's like, I don't like this guy. But he sort of describes his body and his skin is so smooth and flawless and his eyes are so unveined and glass-like that they have like the reflection of like 1,000 summer's days or something that he says in there. But all of the depictions of this guy, I was like, oh, that's a robot man, is what I thought.
I did not put that together, but it makes a ton of sense.
I have like, I'm so excited to get to the end of these chapters because I've got like, it's been, when we were in Malazan, we did like a lot of prediction. This is like, I feel like I've got questions about predictions for you.
Love it. I did not catch that, but that just makes so much sense. Anyway, so this bell rings, the ladies come out to present themselves, to make your choice.
They put them in thrones. Like this guy who's like, the brothel runner.
He's RoboPimp.
RoboPimp sits down. Oh, good old RoboPimp Onesimus sits in his throne. The two sort of kids, is what it feels like, sit in their like mini thrones. The moment of the chime ringing is so sort of like haunting. And even the way that they describe the room, if I'll just pause here for a sec, it's described as like the illusion of extreme grandeur that is like almost perfectly successful if you stand in just one spot in the room. It looks like they've got columns surrounding the room, but they're clearly just like plaster stuck to other plaster in the space. The white curtains that you can picture, like almost like that decorative sort of draping to make the interior room feel so much larger than it seems like it could possibly be from the outside. And then the single clear chime ringing until the ring can't be heard anymore before these women start emerging and presenting themselves to these kids for use that evening.
Services. Yeah. Well, it reinforces this lie that is being propagated inside the brothel, this fantasy, like you're about to be able to choose your chatelaine, and they're all introduced as chatelaines. And you get the sense that these are, the names of them are famous chatelaines that are in the actual House Absolute. So this is all just like a pale representation, a fantasy that is shallow and not complete. It's a two-dimensional image of a three-dimensional thing, and they're all, the lie is going to break down for Severian in a moment, but you get that sense already of like, this is we're all just deluding ourselves as to what this really is.
And
it's so cool.
It's these moments and through this section. So the girls come out, they do their little sexy dance. Roche, who's been here before, is like, next. So Barry's like, oh, okay, I guess so. And he finds a woman that he finds appealing, and one of the chatelaines comes out, who is, from Severian's perspective, it's Chatelaine Thecla. And he's like, I want to go with you. Let's go right now.
How did she get here?
How did you get here? You must. And he's like, imagining this world. And that breaks down for him once they go to the room. And we'll talk about that in a sec. But it's something that I feel like was mentioned by Severian and is not really touched on again, is him being like, I guess I'm actually maybe a little insane. And then you just kind of go on. There's not other things that are noticeably really insane or like lead you to believe that he's actually crazy until this moment. He's like, that's definitely Chatelaine Thecla, until it's not. And then this moment of like semi-rage. There's like what I'll just sort of describe what happens. They go upstairs, and as they're being led up the stairs, he's trying to work through how she could have got out of her cell. Maybe it makes sense that the Torturers Guild, they sent us here. They knew exactly where to go, that they have some other way of getting people from the cells over here. Maybe this is part of punishment. Maybe this is why Thecla was sent here in the first place, to do this work. And then as he gets into the room and, this woman starts undressing and is like, do you want to take my clothes off? And he's like, I do.
Well, before that too, they pass another room and he kind of sees someone that looks like her sister, looks like Chatelaine Thea, who he had immediately thought was the woman that maybe was the woman with the heart-shaped face that he had helped Votalis save in the graveyard in chapter 2.
Yes.
Or chapter 1, excuse me. But anyway, go ahead.
And it's not clear if that was another woman working there or if it actually was.
If they all just have like lookalikes, like that's the whole thing of the House is Yours, just like your lookalike,
But
you want
would the Chatelaine lookalike of Thecla's sister be wearing like her rogue attire?
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it goes up there, and then as soon as he goes to undress her, he's like, well, the fabric feels cheap.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not who this is. And then he starts like seeing things more clearly. And it's like, oh, you actually don't look like her at all. You just have like a slight similarity in one, almost like the non-spoiler topic. It's like, oh, just in that 1 second, in that one angle that you had this.
Yeah.
And then him sort of realizing and vocalizing out loud, like, oh, you're not Thecla. And her being like, yeah, but I could be for you.
Yeah, tonight I can. Yeah.
And his immediate reaction to that being this disturbing. She's like, you can't hurt me. Don't hurt me, because I have 3 guys here that's going to be here any second. And he sort of using all the evidence, spits out context clues like Sherlock Holmes. It's like, there's no guys here. All the lights were off. You brought me upstairs. Nobody else is nearby us at all. There's no guys. And he like picks her up in a threatening way to like throw her, to like just sort of as a show of what he could possibly do. And she's like, okay. I'm not that glass. Sorry. But aren't you strong enough to pretend for one night? Aren't you strong enough to make this reality real to you for one night? And the whole thing is like, okay, Severian's like huge though. Yeah. Like you don't really see how big he is, how strong he is. This is like the first moment where you're like, oh, he's like a big, strong dude who can just lift this woman over his head. Yeah. And it's another moment of like his sort of like delusions and like convincing him of things. And it's a very engaging and peculiar scene.
Well, it's like, it's consistent with like those earlier scenes when he was, like convinced that all of the prisoners that were coming in were like Vodalai and Valer, and then he was like, oh wait, none of this is real. None of this is true. Like I've just been deluding myself. So there's these constant like getting caught up in his own fiction.
But is that insanity, or is that like a kid using their imagination? That's the part that I'm like,
I think that he doesn't know the answer to that. I think he's questioning that. But there was another moment that I was struggling to remember where he is convinced that someone looks like something, and then like literally was like, no, wait, they look nothing like that. I can't remember what it is. And he's also has all of these visions of dead people. We're going to get to one of those in a second. Oh yeah. So there are these cracks in his psyche reality, But anyway, I thought that scene was really disturbing because it's the first time where he like nurtured this dog. He's kind of being kind to people. He's being kind to Thekla. It's the first time where it's like, oh, he's going to do something monstrous here. He's going to just beat this woman to a pulp for no fault of her own because she's not what he expected, It's like really, truly terrible.
But even in that moment, I'm like, was he going to actually do that kind of violence? Because as being a torturer, there's like this restraint to like when they do that kind of stuff. Was that just a show so that she would be honest? Like the whole thing feels disturbing. It makes you feel like he is going to do it, but then he doesn't. And he is also just like sad and disturbed himself in a way, but is still like, I'm not going to use you.
Yeah, they still do it. Yeah. But then, so the next chapter, chapter 10 is called The Last Year. And that takes place over an entire year of time during which he sort of has vowed not to go back to the brothel and feels really, you get a sense of shame about it. Yeah. But he is continuing his relationship with Chatelaine Thekla and, visiting her cell often, talking about all these sort of big topics, histories, philosophy, life in the court.
Master Gerlos and Palemon do give him and Roche money to keep going back, but he just lets Roche keep the money. Yeah. And doesn't spend his time like, in the cell.
This is the greatest.
This is the best year of my life.
This is the best. Yeah. And they talk about the autarch and this Father Inir character who seems like the sort of worm tongue of this, the whispering in the ear, and who is really, in power here. Is it the autarch, or is the autarch just this figurehead and somebody else is, in power doing the things? It's interesting.
I think all their conversations through that time are all still held within the eye of him thinking that she's incredibly elegant. Yeah. It's not until the later chapter that she's like, she explains where her learning comes from. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, she talks here about how she sort of has puzzled out the reason that she's imprisoned, what's going on with her sister. All that stuff happens in this chapter. Yeah. And so she, she's basically like, I don't think my sister is going to save me. Right. She is more devoted to Vodalis than she is to me. Like she's not going to betray him just to save my life. And Severian's like, well, I think I may have seen her at the gravesite, basically. I think I saw her. Does she look like this? And she's like, oh my gosh, if you see her again,
tell
her about what's going on with me. Like, ask her if she'll help.
Oh yeah, because that's the other thing is she's like, maybe people just don't know that I'm in here yet.
Yeah, right.
She's like bargaining with herself about the reasons why she hasn't been released.
Somebody has to have come by now, right? If they knew. Yeah.
I love it because the way that she's presented is like, she's not going to be like other prisoners here. She's not going to be like the other clients, but everything she does is clearly like what other clients have been. Severian, she might have seen it all before. From a higher stature, but her being like, it's just that they don't know that I'm here yet. Must be what 100 other people, 1,000 other people have felt over time. Severian, so he's like, okay, I mean, if you think she'd be in the necropolis again, I'll go, and like goes and hangs out there every night, just waiting to see if they comes around.
But she doesn't.
She don't.
And then Severian is summoned by his masters, or Gerlos and Palamon, and they're like, hey, are you still committed to this guild, bro? It's time. You're going to get promoted from apprentice to journeyman. So are you like for real, for serial? Like serious, like totally down? Are you super down? Like just super down with the guild?
I think I pulled one of these. This section is one of my favorite sections because it's like you, as much as you're completely kidnapped as a baby and brought up here and raised and know nothing else in your life, you still do not become a journeyman until you, as an adult, consent to doing torture. Even though you've been witness to, you've learned all about it, all blah, 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 blah. Yeah. They're like, you can leave the guild and you can make that choice.
I mean, it's not going to be great for you if you do. Yeah.
I don't know if it's captured in my favorite quote, but one of the things I love that he says, it's got to be Master Gerlos, is like, you can leave. Of course you can leave. But if you leave, if you were in the guild, people will say, oh, he's a torturer.
Yeah. You have that stank on you forever, baby.
But if you leave, no matter what, you're not a torturer, but people will say forever, he was of the torturers.
Yeah.
And being a torturer versus being of the torturers and not being a torturer, one is worse than the other. And they imply that being a torturer, people have that stank on you, but you also have a solemn job to do.
Yeah.
You got bros. And then people have that, it's in the first chapter where people look down on it and they hate that they love that we do this work.
Yeah.
But if you leave, then people will just hate you and everything you came from. And there's not a recourse to that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I'm in 100%. But
I love this job and I love you guys.
I love how you get the sense that he's like, I don't really care. But it's a no-win situation here. It's there's one clear, correct answer, and they're like, perfect, you got it. Let's do it. Let's have the feast, baby.
I will say that even when he says yes, he has sort of like what he thinks inside and what he says outside. But he isn't like 1,000 times yes. He's like, what choice do I have? They're like, we concur.
Well, I love too how this chapter ends where he's like, and then they told me the secret of the guild, which I was told never to tell anyone. A vow I have broken, along with literally every other vow that I've ever taken.
Yeah.
So it's a cool way to end. It's like, oh, I'm not telling you right now, but I've told people. I've definitely told people. Yeah. I was like, I want to know the secret of the guild. No, but I'm loose with that secret. Not right now, but I have been. It's very cool.
Stay tuned.
Exactly. So chapter 11 is called The Feast, and I have a large section from this as one of my,
me too.
Just the way that it's described, the feast is described, and this.
Oh, we probably have the same section.
Oh, it's so good. The language is delicious. The language is just spectacular.
Yeah.
And Go ahead. Oh, the part of the section that I pulled is this this story that they tell about the one time they let an outsider in on the feast, and the guy just sat around all the time going like, "Are you guys going to tell me about the torturing? Are you going to tell me about the torturing? Like what about the torturing?
What new tortures have you guys done? None?
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah. Wait, are you not telling me about the torturing because you're going to torture me? What's up with that? Is that what's really happening here, guys? Wait, nobody's talking about the torturing. That's weird. It's super weird. I'm freaking out. And then he like leaves and falls and hits his head and dies. And then that becomes a whole story about how you can't go to the torturer's feasts
They'll
because
get
you don't
you.
die. Yeah.
I love that. I love that story. The tee up even into the story is like, yeah, they bring up the bear tower, the witch's tower. There's the third tower that I forgot. They bring up all these. The people be feasting. Witches celebrate on this day. These people celebrate on this day. And at a lot of the places, especially they don't have a whole tower, they'll just go and feast with like the town and go hang out.
People love it.
People be loving the feasts. Why not? It's great. Witches, woo, let's go. Tortures, in that so much. And so, but he's like, but even though nobody wants to celebrate with us except for that one guy, that one time, we still go hard. It up right.
We still
do
go
it up right.
so hard.
And like people can tell that our food smells so good and we have all this wine and they just like go on about being like, it is party time. Even like they have 3 different tiers of somebody's becoming a master torturer, somebody's being promoted to journeyman, or if there's like nothing. There's a feast. Yeah. But it's like the uber feast and the lesser feast. I forget the names of them, the tiers.
Yeah, it's the least feast, the lesser feast. Yeah.
And most feast, dude.
I just have this image of like people in town like looking up and the tower's rocking and there's like strobe lights and everybody's and they're like, oh, the sickos are partying again.
I bet they're doing something really disgusting. And the constant push and pull between people being like the tortures are despicable and then being like, we are just doing that only which is asked of us, and like seeing the guy coming in from the town to celebrate them being the actual sicko and trying to like just talk about the torture just to like hear about it like a pervert for it it's so interesting to be like the torturers are actually the ones who are being humane, and then the torturers like, here's all the disgusting torture we're doing. I'm like, oh no here it is bad, it's bad. But it's that ebb and flow of the perspective of who you feel sort of disgusted by is interesting.
Yeah. And it is like a cult. It full on is a cult, right? Because they describe the little stage play that they do.
The sketch.
Yeah. You know, and it's religion. You know, it's the legend of Holy Catherine is what he describes, which is
in pews, broken pews. The whole cathedral is busted up.
Yeah. And they have this woman. He's like, I don't know where she comes from or where she goes after. You don't ever see her, but she comes in and she does this. She's like the Meryl Streep of our day, dude. She rocks. She's amazing.
Never ages.
But she comes in and she plays Holy Catherine, who was condemned to death on the wheel. But when they put her on the wheel disintegrated in some fantastical way. And then she had to be beheaded. And so Severian, as the center of this ceremony, as the central figure who's being promoted in the ceremony, plays the role of the executioner with the holding the sword. It's a fake sword. It's a fake. But when I first started reading it, I was like, oh, are they really going to make him behead someone just to rank up?
The tension I felt through the scene was extreme. And even the description, it's like he swings down the sword, and time itself, it felt like there was resistance to the sword swinging through the air.
Yeah.
It's like, is this just his psychosis, or is there there's just these moments that it feels so separate from reality. It just blurs so much that I felt like my heartbeat was like while I was reading this play.
It also echoes that moment from the very beginning of the novel where he says, like, he raised the weapon to defend Votilis, and he felt like everything hung in the balance of that moment of raising. And it's that same tension of like raising the sword in the ceremony and it was heavy, and like he felt like it was so heavy in his hand that it might fall the wrong direction. And I was like, oh, is he gonna accidentally behead this chick? Like,
I know.
It was, you're right, they're very tense and interesting. But no, it is all this very elaborate pantomime where they have a wax head with fake blood in it, and she has this ability to sort of put her head under, like like a Halloween costume.
She puts on one of their was it Philogene things, like darker than dark, blackest, the darker than dark, blacker than black fabric that like conceals the fact that her head is still there.
Yeah. And then she like, whisks away, and it's really, it feels very, we've done this 400 times. There's another performance of the same thing, but we love it. Everybody loves it. We're gonna watch the Nutcracker again,
Yeah. Even her repeating her line, being like, bring it, like, I forget what it is, but it's something like, bring it on.
Yeah. Yes, you are. You're
swing
cute, buddy.
The sword.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a huge success. Everybody loves it. Drinking and merriment ensue, and Severian gets hammered and returns to his corners.
I just love that he's like, I drank very little, but even a very little has always been too much for this big boy. He's like a lightweight. It's like he specifically points out that he didn't drink that much, but it was a lot for that guy.
Yeah. So he goes back to his room, and he's like, having drunky dreams. He dreams that Catherine, this, holy Catherine, is in his bed, but she smells like the perfumes that Thecla wears. And then he just hurls, he's spewing hard, he's puking his guts out.
Even the description of like getting the spins of him being like, I can sit up and then I'm fine. And the second my head hits the pillow, the whole room feels like it's shifting.
Yeah.
He dreams, and there's things within his dream where he is the perfume of Thecla, and Catherine, but then it's also him remembering being underwater and almost drowning. And then it's like, there's like that big face of that person who was there underwater. Like there's like all of these weird memories / hallucinations happening / dreams. I really liked the call out that when he puked in the bucket, he felt like extreme guilt because it felt like his body was rejecting everything, all of the gifts that it was accepting from the guilt,
feast.
The feast the night before.
Yeah,
he was
good.
Physically rejecting them all, which I thought was a nice call.
I agree. I was really, really cool. Also, I had a moment of going, did he like drunkenly sleep with Thecla? Like it did it actually happen? The perfume in his, I think that is meant to sort of be intentionally vague and, surreal in a certain sense of like, her perfume is in my bed. Was she actually there in some weird way? Like, did he pull her out of her, who knows? And then he talks about how like he has this perfect memory, but people who get drunk, like, often talk about how they don't remember things, and that happened to me too, and that's weird,
Yeah. In this moment, he's like, people always talk about forgetting things, and I don't really know what that means, but what felt like it was he was carried along and then woke up somewhere different. So he describes like blacking out, but he's like, but I didn't like forget though. That's not what I experienced. But even then there's like the tradition of like, he does wake up in a room that is not his own room because he's now a journeyman, but he's like the lowest journeyman on the rung. So he has like a crappier little room, but just wake up somewhere in a different place and having sort of like this in and out of reality feeling between. And I'm like, how perfect is your memory now, buddy boy?
It's such a frat, it's such a frat house,
And I said dong on my forehead.
I fell asleep first, and now I got drawing on my face. Then he hears like animal footsteps outside the door, and he opens the door, and he's like, "Oh, sup, Master Malrubius? Sorry, man. I thought I heard something out here. Sorry. All right, later. Go back to sleep." Close the door. He's like, "Oh wait, that dude's been dead for years.
He's been gone for 40 years." The footsteps outside the door. He's like, "It's so familiar." I assumed it was the patting of the dog that he was remembering.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah.
But
I
yes,
just love how
so
he's
much.
like, "Oh, what's up? I'm sorry, didn't mean to disturb you. I'm going back to sleep. Oh wait, you've been dead for a long time."
Open the door, and even him being so courteous and being like, "I'm so sorry, I can't talk. You get it. It was the feast."
All right, so chapter 12 is called The Traitor. It's the next morning, and there's leftovers. They got leftover feast food, so they'll bring them to the inmates.
And no excruciations day after the feast.
No, man, we take a day of rest. You know, we partied hard last night. Everybody's hungover.
Everybody eat your gerbil meat, your guinea pig and capybara meat, and have a great day.
Gosh. Yeah, so good. So Master Gerlos comes up to Severian, and he has 2 soldiers, a priest, and a new prisoner, this woman. And he's like, "Okay, Severian, take this woman to her cell." And Severian's like, "Oh, man, where do I put her? You know what would be super nice for Thecla? It would be nice to have a little next door neighbor who she can talk through the walls to and keep her company when I'm not around. Oh, that's nice of me. I'll do that." And he does that. He puts her in it's the same kind of thing where she's like, "Well, maybe I will be released." He's like, "Nah, not going to be released." No, she's like, "Well, but that happens sometimes." Yes, but not to you, not to most people. And so they get to the cell, and Thecla's like, "Oh, you are so lucky. You got the best torturer in this whole place. This guy rules. You don't even know how lucky you are. This dude is awesome." And Severian's like, "Yeah, I'm going to leave because this is not the vibe I wanted to project right now. Like, she's definitely getting tortured, as are you. Like, guys, this is not a happy thing right now."
And her being like, "Oh my God, women are here? I thought..." He's like, "Yeah, we've had 8 sometimes."
Yeah.
Very equal opportunity torturers.
Yeah. I just love how he's like embarrassed that, it's like, "Don't talk. I don't treat everybody like I treat you." And also, and like, you guys are definitely in a bad situation. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. And even her being like, "This guy's going to get you all the things that you want." I feel like that was like the first crack in being like, "Hey, you're embarrassing me."
Yeah.
That was
just
like
for you
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a crack in his perception of what she's like.
So Severian goes back to Master Gerlos' study when the master is not there, and he finds the order for Thecla's torture. It's finally happened that, she's been waiting over a year. I mean, literally just sitting there in a hotel room, basically, isolated, but taken care of. But now is the time where things are about to get bad.
Before, I forget if it happens immediately, but I'm pretty sure he's like, "Yeah, I knew, for some reason I knew this was going to be here." And he gets that sense. A few things. One, the woman that gets brought in, they do say what her crime is. So she says, "Don't you want to know what I did?" And
he's like, "No."
He's like, she's like, "Well, I'm still going to tell you in case you think that doesn't deserve torture." He's like, "It's not up to me, lady." But she had found out like her, the guy she was with had some additional lover, I'm pretty sure. And he refused.
It's a weird word, but it seems like a side piece.
That's what it is. It has a jade.
Jade. Yeah, cool.
And so I interpreted that as has a side piece. And so she paid some, local toughs to go and set fire to her thatch. So like burn her house down.
Thatch. Also awesome.
It was, she's like, what? She lost like some things like her bed. She's like, she didn't really lose anything.
Yeah.
Does that really deserve torture? And he's like, "Don't care." But it is like,
not my job.
It is like a petty arson crime, but it does sort of, that's the first person that we've really seen come in with a crime for the Torturers Guild that is like, well, yeah, does that deserve torture? Nope. Don't think so. Don't think anything deserves torture.
Yeah.
But that's one little sliver of insight into the type of people who are coming through their establishment that we haven't previously gotten.
Right. Yeah.
And at some point, I'm just going to say it the other cracks that happen in his relationship with Tekla as the year drags on is that she's like, you must think I'm so well read. I actually hated school.
Yeah.
And it's just the things that she starts describing, he starts seeing her more as a party girl, or it's not described as though Severian's opinion is changing of her, but the things that he's telling us that she said to him changes my perspective on who she is. She doesn't come across as an elegant person. She's like, I really wanted to go out and party and drink. And I'm like, hated my studies, but we just like had to do them for like noble school. And she's flipping through all these books.
She's like, I talked to you about philosophy, but I wouldn't be talking about this if I wasn't here.
I would never for 1 second talk about this stuff with you. And she says something like, you're such a sweet boy. And like, it's her tone and the things she's talking about are coming across not as like elegant and thoughtful, interesting woman. They're coming across as like naive, spoiled, and patronizing.
Right.
And that arc in him seeing her and immediately falling in love with her to the things she's expressing and him still clearly like having feelings for her, but it doesn't feel like Severian's souring on her, but as a reader, the things he's describing really change your perspective of who she is.
Totally. Yeah. Great points. I totally agree. I had the same sensation. Severian, having uncovered this order for Thekla's torture to begin, kind of goes back to the mausoleum that he used to go to in the early sections of the book when he talked about, before he was
apprentice
promoted.
Yeah.
And he says, I went there for the last time, even though I didn't know it then. And he sort of, in his feelings, fantasizing about freeing Thekla, running off together. You get the sense that he's really conflicted about this moment. But then when Master Gerlos is like, Severian, Roche, let's do this. It's time to torture us at Thekla.
Woo!
Yeah. Time to lean, time to excruciate. You know what I'm saying? No more weight, excruciate. I don't know. I'm trying. So they get Thekla from her cell, and she's like, "Oh, hey, what are we doing? Is it fun time? Am I getting set free? What is there all positive things happening for me? Are we finally doing this? What's high fives? Everybody high fives?" And excuse me, this section I absolutely love because it is the ultimate example of this marriage of this sort of polite formality, this pedestrian workmanship that the torturers do with absolute unspeakable horrors.
Yeah.
And how Master Gerlos is like, oh, hey, would you like a tour of the facilities? You've been here for so long and you haven't even seen the place. Let me tell you, this is this diabolical machine that gets tighter around your throat every time you take a breath. And if you take tiny breaths, you can make it last a really long time, but it'll just go tiny tighter on your, just like the idea of breathing itself means you will not be able to breathe.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that as it gets to the point where it's suffocating you and you want to take more breaths, it makes it worse and worse. It's just like the most horrific notion I could imagine. And he's like, there's that one. And
they have like taking her arm and like holding her hand and letting her know all of the devices so that she's like, you are going to be tortured, but this is where he's like, we're going to no more, no less than we're ordered to do. And we're going to help you maximize your dignity. This is what this machine does. And they go sort of down this line of different disgusting machines.
Are you going to do that one to me? He's like, oh, no, not that one. No, don't worry. No, not that one. But that one, definitely that one.
They get to the machine and she's like, I thought you were going to show me the rest of them. He goes, that's a distraction technique so people don't get too freaked out. No, I was only going to show you up to the one that we're doing and I need you to lie on this table now. And if you don't do it by your own will, the torturers are going to force you and you won't like that. I promise. Please lie down for your own sake.
It's so creepy and terrifying. Just the way he's like, I would really love for you to just lie right down here and not make this an issue, because if we do, it's going to be just way worse for you. And so why don't you just lie right down? Because, if you resist, then things have to get ugly and painful. And we really don't want to do that.
And even like the distraction technique leading up to that, it's like the idea of like going to the doctor and getting the needle, where they're like, why don't you count backwards from 10? Why don't you spell your name back? What if you said the whole alphabet backwards? And you're like, I guess I'll do this thing. And so you're not thinking about the thing that's coming or happening to you.
Yeah.
And having that be like the torturous way of doing this thing. It's so clinical. It's disgusting.
It's disturbing.
The machine that they have her on, I think that was the one that was called the Revolutionary.
Which looks like it is just electrocution, They talk about it being lightning. There's another word for it, but I can't remember what that is, which seems to me to be like electricity, right?
It's electricity, yeah.
Yeah.
And them being like, it's run by lightning. You're not going to get struck by lightning, but it might feel like you are. But that's not what's happening. We promise. And they blast like a light on her that they describe as taking away all color of the that the light touches.
Yeah.
And then the scream, Severian just says that he's heard thousands of screams. He's heard screams his entire life, but this scream seemed to last an infinite amount of time and was like the most horrifying, most
wasn't the loudest
scream. Yeah.
It was just the most disturbing. Yeah. Have you seen the movie Begonia?
No.
Okay. No spoilers for Begonia, but I had major Begonia flashbacks in this moment. It is a level of creepy and unsettling that is accentuated by how, like I said, how pedestrian it all is, and how just sort of pleasant they're being about it. Like there's no emotion. There's no rage. They're
not reveling in it.
Right. You're just, this is the next thing we have to do. And here we go. And it would be great if you just made this easy for all of us.
Yeah. And it is gentle. Like they're not totally sociopathic.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
But like even the fact that they're like, we're trying to preserve these things. Like you're trying to preserve your dignity as much as we can. We're just trying to there is like an empathy to the things that she must be feeling.
Yeah. And
so it's not like devoid of that experience. But then in order to do something like this to somebody, there's something's missing in you.
Yeah. Oh man. And his position, which is sort of like, I wish I could take her away from all this, but also I'm doing my job. I'm not going to not do my job. Here we are. Oh, so the next sequence is another one that I pulled, this whole sequence where she later describes how her body now is just failing her.
Well, that you're like, okay, this machine's called the Revolutionary, but it doesn't really explain what that is. And then she describes how it's failing her, but what the machine does is it wakes up a part of your mind that hates you and will fight with you for control over your body to try and kill yourself.
Ugh. Awful.
But not by like they don't give them any tools to be able to do that. And so it's like just self-destruction, physical self-destruction, because you're fighting with your own brain over control of your limbs.
They have this conversation, and again, I'll be reading it in just a few minutes, but the upshot is that, he tells her that he has a knife that he stole from the kitchen, and she asks for it. And, she says, is it sharp? Is it very sharp? And he said, and then he waits outside the door knowing what she's going to do with the knife. And then like the description of it being, he waits a little longer because there's always a little bit of hesitation. Like
you always resist.
Your body always resists. And then knowing that she kills herself, slices her own throat, she says, then I left to go tell Master Gerlos what I had done.
Yeah. And even when he says, I have this knife, he tells her, because I was going to try and figure out a way to escape with you, but I just couldn't.
Just couldn't. Yeah. Brutal. I mean, this whole sequence is so brutal.
Yeah.
So the final chapter for this week is called The Lictor of Thrax. And we find Severian has been imprisoned for his transgression, his betrayal, and he's awaiting his own execution. And believes he deserves it, right? He knows he has done something that is inexcusable to the guild, and he has given up his own life for her.
For this kindness, quote unquote.
Yeah, to end her suffering, basically.
Yeah.
And his entire job is to prolong the suffering. Crazy. But Master Palamon summons Severian.
Yeah.
And they have this really fascinating discussion where he's like, hey, so we polled everybody. Turns out you got more friends than I thought you had, and probably you thought you had. He's like, more people were like, no death for Severian than we thought.
Interesting that he was like, more than 2 and more than 3, but I'm not going to tell you the number. I'm like, so 4?
So 4. Which is not a small number, but there's not very many of them there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but they're like, they think that you should just die quick. It's not torturing you is the kindness that they're offering. It's not like
it's not death, no death.
I say, let him go. It's not that. It's
quick death or worst death.
Yeah, or the absolute horror. And he's a great line where he's like, I think that second group is right. The second group that wants him to be tortured.
Yeah.
He's like, I deserve it. But he's like, well, here's the real bummer is that if we do kill you, it sort of discredits us and it looks bad on us. So
we didn't have an order for it.
That's right.
We didn't have the
Autarch
missive.
didn't tell us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't sort of take justice into our own hands. It puts us in a really awkward position. So here's what we're going to do. There's this really archaic precedent that says that we could just like banish you to this really awful place called Thrax, where really no one is happy. Everyone hates it there.
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily like a banishment. They're thinking of it as a banishment, but they're like, how do we just get you out of here? Because somebody's going to do the crime. And then it's just going to be this snowball of crimes that the Autarch will then call us murderers. Can you believe that? Crazy.
Yeah. Somebody's going to kill you. Yeah. Because your peers hate you so much because you've undermined our guild that, they're going to kill you.
Yeah. It's like there's a little known thing, but people have stayed as part of the guild, but they've gone to fulfill these roles in remote places where people are far enough away from the Autarch that they need excruciations and executions to be done.
Yeah.
But there's just like nobody there to do them and they can't send them all the way. It's a whole thing.
It's like excruciation, supply and demand, bro.
Exactly. And recently this place called Thrax put in a request to have somebody sent out to help with the punishments. And so he's sort of using that as a banishment because Thrax is it's like the city of endless no windows. What is it called? Do you remember? Do you have it there?
No, I don't.
It's like the city
weird,
of no windows. And it's a horrible place. People hate it there. It's at like this far edge because of travel. We like learn all this stuff about the world, which is very interesting because the Autarch closed all of the roads.
Yeah.
Because
that was toll roads now.
Yeah. You can't take any of the roads because it made it too hard to tax people and tax goods coming in. Only rivers, and you have to walk there. So you can't take the rivers. You can't take the easy way. You have to walk there through the hard path. It's going to take you a long time to get there. We think that's going to be a suitable punishment is to basically send you to the wasteland hell.
The thing that was funny to me is I immediately thought, well, so what you're telling me is I'm going in a direction no one else is going to go and I'm just expected to arrive at the horrible place. Like,
I know.
Maybe I just don't. You're letting me walk out the door with no possessions, but just expecting me to go to my punishment. Like maybe I just don't. I just disappear.
Just don't
forever.
do that. But then, I mean, in Severian's head, there is that sense of duty where he's even like, oh, well, I have little does he know, I got a coin, baby. And then he's immediately like, I can't spend that. That's not right. It's this, I think it's the expectation that you're willing to opt into the self-punishment. And I do think that humans are like that. Humans will be like, this is my journey. I have to do this. And then not choose another option. I don't think that Severian won't choose another option. But at this moment, that is my exact reaction.
Just go there. You better go there.
You better just go be free, possibly.
There's nobody that's going to keep track of that, but you should go there and do that because that's what we are telling you to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Severian's like, I did wonder why he knows so much about travel.
Yeah. Yeah. That was interesting. So anyway, he's like, well, you can stay one last night in Matachin Tower before you leave. And Severian's like, nah, he goes back to Thekla's cell one last time. And he's like, I'm going to take one of these books. Which book should I take? That one's too big. That one's too small. Ooh, that one is just right.
Did we get the title? He just said the little brown one. I don't remember.
I think it's the one the Wonders of Earth and Sky. Literally the only one that has been name checked as being important is the one he takes.
And then he
goes up to check out the view one last time at the uppermost section. Such a beautiful prose to describe what he's looking at and how everything is kind of another sort of enigmatic description of the city where things are farther away or closer than they thought or smaller or bigger or just it's a wild sort of, inconstant place to be in.
And then it's also like the lacings of this. You feel the sci-fi again. He's climbing through the gun room that I'm now picturing this thing as like a giant turret on top of it with big space cannons on it. Climb to the top of like the way he describes the glass that he's standing on. It's like, it's like super plexi space glass. I got Jetsons bubble kind of glass roofed thing. And I think it's here where he's like daydreaming. Maybe it was him when he went back to visit his mausoleum one last time, but daydreaming about somebody taking over from the Autarch and reclaiming the stars and getting back to that place of being able to travel like they used to again.
Right.
He has sort of like some internal wonderings about that. And and we
know he backs into the throne.
I know. So here are my questions for you. Do you have predictions about like leading towards backing into the throne? We got lots of little teasers.
Yeah, no, I mean, my expectation is that his journey will not lead him to Thrax. Yeah. That he will go somewhere else. He'll get side Thraxed. And it's terrible. And he will, I don't know, stumble into some adventure that links him up with Vodalis in some way and they overthrow the government. I don't know. Here's my prediction. They overthrow the government. Vodalis dies. Severian is his right-hand man and becomes the next Autarch or throne seater.
There's a few things during this chapter that made me be like, I think that he's going to, at some point, have to or choose to pretend to be an exultant. Maybe even the Autarch himself. Because they've seeded this idea that Severian's like big in the brothel. They were like, you look like an exultant because you're such a big dude and blah, blah, blah.
He carried the bear dog, like that was the size of a bear and he cuddled it in his little arms. It's like, that's a big dude.
Yeah. And, sort of foreshadowing people pretending to be other things in that brothel again. He keeps thinking that Thea is around. He thought Thea was there. The sex worker he thought was the Thekla, and just this idea of them being like, you look like you could be something that you're not, makes me think that he's gonna at some point either just get mistaken for an exultant and then say nothing about it, or just be like, well, it's time for me to be the guy and I'm gonna go be the guy.
That really makes backed into the throne feel like that lands. He's the what's that Kevin Kline movie? Was it Kevin? No, it's a Richard Dreyfuss movie. Moon, where he just happens to look like the dictator of this country. So that It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's a cool theory. I like it. We shall see.
We shall see.
All right. So we do have some. I only have two, but they're both not short.
I know we have one
more.
that is definitely the same, and then a few that are not.
I have mine here if you want me to go.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my slow Kindle. Oh, I got one that's really early.
Do it.
Chapter 7. This is a description of Gurlos that I thought was fascinating and also leads more context to the world. We'll see if I can pronounce these things. Oh, also one quick note. A lot of folks in the comments, and when I remarked on this too, Jeff Bodine afterwards made it quite clear that there are no made-up words in the book.
Yes. There's just words that my Kindle doesn't know.
There's words that are like so archaic that the Kindle's dictionary does not adequately. So thanks everybody for pointing that out.
Agreed. Thank you. Yes.
All right. Gurlos was one of the most complex men I've known because he was a complex man trying to be simple. Not a simple, but a complex man's idea of simplicity. Just as a courtier forms himself into something brilliant and involved, midway between a dancing master and a diplomatist with a touch of assassin if needed, so Master Gurlos had shaped himself to be the dull creature of a pursuivant or bailiff expected to see, that a pursuivant or bailiff expected to see when he summoned the head of our guild. And that is the only thing a real torturer cannot be. The strange showed. Though every part of Gurlos was as it should have been, none of the parts fit. He drank heavily and suffered from nightmares. But he had the nightmares when he had been drinking, as if the wine, instead of bolting the doors of his mind, threw them open and left him staggering about in the last hours of night, trying to catch a glimpse of a sun that had not yet appeared. A sun that would banish the phantoms from his big cabin and permit him to dress and send the journeymen on to their business. Sometimes he went to the top of our tower, above the guns, and waited there talking to himself, peering through glass said to be harder than flint for the first beams. He was the only one in our guild, Master Palaemon not excepted, who was unafraid of the energies there and the unseen mouths that spoke sometimes to human beings and sometimes to other mouths in other towers and keeps. He loved music, but he thumped the arm of his chair to it and tapped his foot and did so most vigorously to the kind he liked best, whose rhythms were too subtle for any regular cadence. He ate too much and too seldom, read when he thought no one knew of it, and visited certain of our clients, including one on the 3rd level, to talk of things none of us eavesdropping in the corridor outside could understand. His eyes were refulgent, brighter than any woman's. He mispronounced quite common words, Yurtikit, Salpinx, Bordereau. I cannot well tell you how bad he looked when I returned to the Citadel recently. How bad he looks now. All those common words?
Yeah, all this. What a doofus! Just mispronouncing the easiest words. He's just somebody's grandpa. You know, I just imagine him. He's just like this grandpa who likes his music and he likes to eat, and sometimes he goes up and looks out and he hangs out. Oh, and also he's the master of the torturers. You know?
The idea of being like, I have to look like a putz and I have to pretend to be not interesting or have the complexity or have the inner workings of thought that would frighten somebody who's showing up in giant suits of armor to bring somebody else. I have to come and look like the frumpy lunatic who is the head of the Torturers Guild and have no deeper self than that. But he's like drinking himself to death and having conversations with ghosts and like deep conversations that are so strange and confusing that even people outside being like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's such an interesting depiction of this man and the life that he's living outside of raising kidnapped children to abuse people.
Yeah. You know, don't define me by the kidnapped children that I raised to torture people. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right. So this is the description of the feast. No one from outside the guild has dined with us at Holy Catherine's feast for more than 300 years, when a lieutenant of the guard, so it is said, dared to come for a wager. There are many idle tales of what befell him, as that we made him seat himself at our table upon a chair of glowing iron. None of them are true. By the lore of our guild, he was made welcome and well feasted. But because we did not, over our meat and Catherine cake, talk of the pain we had inflicted, or devise new modes of torment, or curse those whose flesh we had torn for dying too soon, he grew ever more anxious, imagining that we sought to lull his fears so we might entrap him subsequently. Thus thinking, he ate little and drank much, and returning to his own quarters, fell and struck his head in such a way that he evermore upon occasion lost his wits and suffered great pain. In time, he put the muzzle of his own weapon into his mouth, but none of it was our doing. None but torturers, then, come to the chapel on Holy Catherine's Day. Yet each year, knowing we are watched from the high windows, we prepare to do all the rest, and more grandly. Outside the chapel, our wines burn like gems in the light of 100 flambeaux. Our beeves steam and wallow in ponds of gravy, rolling baked lemon eyes, capybaras and agouti, posed in stances of life and bearing fur in which toasted coconut mingles with their oven-flayed skin, clamor on logs of ham and scale boulders of new baked bread.
So nuts. So nuts.
Our beeves steam and wallow in ponds of gravy, rolling baked lemon eyes, capybaras, and like they're eating the disgusting stuff.
They're eating large rodents.
Large
and
rodents.
They're like delicious. I mean, I guess
So
they're also
good.
eating ham, but them being like these beautiful big rats are like the centerpiece of the feast. Whoa.
What a description, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I have a little short one here that I just thought was like a torturer's romance. This is Severian looking at Tekla. Her hair, which she often let fall free, today was bound about her head in a dark aureole. She had never more closely resembled her half-sister Thea, and I felt such desire for her that I seemed to be spilling my blood upon the floor, growing weaker and fainter with each contraction of my heart.
It's good.
Aww.
Falling in love with your torture client.
It's just all your blood is on the ground. Cute.
Yeah. All right. So this is that horrifying discussion between Severian and Thekla. When all my other work was completed, I came to her cell to see her. She was fully aware that by then, though she could not stand. I ought to hate you, she said. I had to lean over her to catch the words. It's all right, I said, but I don't. Not for your sake. If I hate my last friend, what would be left? There was nothing to say to that, so I said nothing. Do you know what it was like? It was a long time before I could think of it. Her right hand was creeping upward toward her eyes. I caught it and forced it back. I thought I saw my worst enemy, a kind of demon, and it was me. Her scalp was bleeding. I put clean lint there and taped it down, though I knew it would soon be gone. Curling dark hairs were entangled in her fingers. Since then, I can't control my hands. I can if I think about it, if I know what they're doing, but it is so hard and I'm getting tired. She rolled her head away and spat blood. I bite myself, bite the lining of my cheeks and my tongue and lips. Once my hands tried to strangle me and I thought, oh good, I will die now. But I only lost consciousness and they must have lost their strength because I woke. It's like that machine, isn't it? I said, Alwyn's necklace. But worse. My hands are trying to blind me now, to tear my eyelids away. Will I be blind? Yes, I said. How long before I die? A month, perhaps. The thing in you that hates you will weaken as you weaken. The revolutionary brought it to life, but its energy is your energy. And in the end, you will die together.
Ugh. Ugh.
Wow.
Building into that, there's like the questions of like, oh, her scalp is bleeding. And you're like, oh, that must be like a lesion, like something from the light. And it's like, no, she's ripping her hair out. It's like, how long is it going to take you to die from you picking apart your own flesh, biting yourself, ripping your own eyelids off? A month of that?
Dude,
it is
awful. The line where he says, I saw her hand creeping up to her eye and I brought it back down. Like, so chilling. Just chilling to the bone.
Yeah. This one is Master Gerlos and Master Palemon asking if Severian's going to stay with the guild. What will you be, Severian? A torturer? You may leave the guild if you prefer. I told him firmly, as though I were slightly shocked by the suggestion, that I had never considered it. It was a lie. I had known, as all apprentices knew, that one was not firmly and finally a member of the guild until one consented as an adult to the connection. Furthermore, though I loved the guild, I hated it too. Not because of the pain it inflicted on clients who must sometimes have been innocent, and who must often have been punished beyond anything that could be justified by their offenses, but because it seemed to me inefficient and ineffectual, serving a power that was not only ineffectual but remote. I do not know how better to express my feelings about it than by saying that I hated it for starving and humiliating me, and loved it because it was my home. Hated and loved it because it was the exemplar of old things, because it was weak, and because it seemed indestructible. Naturally, I expressed none of this to Master Palemon, though I might have if Master Gerlos had not been present. Still, it seemed incredible that my profession of loyalty, made in rags, could be taken seriously. Yet it was.
So good. The other thing we didn't mention was that moment where he's like, I didn't actually want to be a part of the guild, but as soon as they told me I couldn't.
That's one of my next quotes.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, awesome. Do that one. It's so good.
Yeah. Here we go. So this is after he's been captured now. It's a short quote followed by one last short quote without being perfectly connected. It is said that it is the peculiar quality of time to conserve fact, and that it does so by rendering our past falsehoods true. So it was with me. I had lied in saying that I loved the guild, that I desired nothing but to remain in its embrace. Now I found these lies become truths. The life of a journeyman, and even that of an apprentice, seemed infinitely attractive, not only because I was certain to die, but truly attractive in themselves because I had lost them. I saw the brothers now from the viewpoint of a client, and so I saw them as powerful, the active principles of an inimical and nearly perfect machine. Knowing that my case was hopeless, I learned in my own person what Master Malrubius had once impressed upon me when I was a child. That hope is a psychological mechanism unaffected by external realities.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
Him being like, I'm lying, I don't want to be here. And then that flip, because you've lost it. Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah. Even when it's a torturer's guild.
Even when it's the worst things you can possibly imagine experiencing from all angles.
Yeah. Well, folks, I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. Please keep sending those non-spoiler topics. dlcfeedback@gmail.com is where you send them. We love talking about stuff that you want to talk about. And what is, I should have looked. What is next week?
I got it. Chapters 14 through 20.
14 through 20. We're moving on through. I am in it. I can't wait to see what's next. I think this was kudos to your husband for the chapter breaks, because I felt like this was the perfect cliffhanger of like, where's he going?
Yeah,
where's he headed?
I said the same thing. I was reading on the couch, and I was like, "Good break point. Good break point."
Excellent.
I'm out next week.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we aren't going to be here next week, so we are doing the next grouping of chapters, but it'll be in 2 weeks. So Lana has big stuff going on next week. We won't be able to record, so you'll have to dance on your own, ladies and gentlemen. But we'll give you a little impetus right now to maybe get your boogie on. But we'll see you in 2 weeks.
When the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality, open up those pages, a sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please, and join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the Book Club by DLC.